My son Eli found it one day while we were walking a trail in between two schools. It was a small patch of green, surrounded by tall pines and myrtles all around it. I didn't remember seeing it any time previously during our walks, but the place appeared to be rather old. There wasn't much to it, just some swings, a jungle gym, and a single slide. But Eli wanted to go and play immediately. Something about the place felt immediately wrong to me. It was too quiet, too still. There was a slow fog drifting along the grass. It just seemed off. "Eli, be careful," I called out to him. Of course, being only 3.5, he didn't want to listen to me. So I just sat on the bench nearby and watched him play. I took out my phone to check Facebook and Twitter, telling him we could only stay for maybe 15 minutes at most. I needed to shoot a few messages to my mechanic and insurance company, so admittedly I was absorbed in business. As my eyes occasionally glanced up to make sure he wasn't getting hurt, I saw someone else standing there, just on the outskirts of the playground. He was a tall man, wearing a perfectly ironed white shirt and pressed dark pants. He was just standing there, staring, watching us. "Eli, we need to go home now," I called out to him. The man was making me uncomfortable. My son whined but listened to me as we left and continued down the trail. The man didn't stop watching us until we were completely out of sight. "Dad, I didn't want to go," Eli said as we made it back to our SUV. He climbed in through my side to get to the back seat. "We can come back another day, buddy," I told him. Truth be told, I didn't want to go back to that playground at all. Everything about it was giving me a very bad vibe. But I don't like lying to Eli, and I figured that as long as that weird guy wasn't there, it would be harmless. So, the next weekend I walked him back there and let him enjoy the park. He was smiling from ear to ear. It's been a while since I've seen him that happy before. I noticed also that there were other children running about, so that helped put me at ease. But then, as I watched, I also noticed that none of their parents were there. These are 5-year-olds or younger. How could any parent worth a grain of salt just let them wander out here by themselves? This trail isn't exactly well known. In fact, before we even found the actual playground, I would say I almost never saw anyone out here. So where were these kids coming from? I wondered. Their echoing laughter was more intoxicating than the fog. I tried to approach one of the children, to ask them their name and where their parents were, but they were too shy. In fact, they all seemed averse to talking to me altogether. I suppose that's fair since I was a stranger. I got that uneasy feeling in my gut again, and I called Eli to leave. This time he was even more upset. "I don't want to go," he shouted. I hadn't seen him act this mad since he was sick and I had previously promised to let him play outside. Probably the last time I had failed to keep my word. "Buddy, we can't stay here forever. Come on, let's go," I insisted. But Eli wouldn't listen. He ran to the top of the slide and sat down defiantly. I hated to be mean, but I didn't want this habit to continue, so I snatched him down and scolded him. "Don't run away from me like that again," I told him. Eli looked confused. I knew he still didn't understand why he had to always listen to me. It broke his heart when we left. I felt awful. The other kids just stopped and stared as we walked away, like they were sad to see him go too. Another day, Eli told me that he missed his friends. "Which friends, buddy?" I asked. "At the hidden playground," he said. The name he gave it was disconcerting, but fitting given the fact that it did seem hard to find. In fact, when Eli wasn't with me, I couldn't seem to find it at all even when I tried. I don't think we should go back there again, bud. It doesn't seem safe. That equipment is pretty old, I told him. I tried to reach a compromise and tell him that I could take him to one of the other parks around town, but Eli wouldn't listen. "It's special," he whined. He was getting to be temperamental, and as much as I wanted to make him happy, my instincts told me to put my foot down. "Look, I just want you to be safe, okay?" I told him as he cried next to me. Eli didn't talk to me for a few days after that. I guess he figured the silent treatment would change my mind, but I remained resolute and didn't even go towards that trail again. Eli grew sadder and sadder, refusing to eat or sleep. All he seemed to care about was going back to that place, the hidden playground. It was starting to make me worry. Was there something wrong with him? He was always in his room and rarely came out. Finally, after a few days, I gave in and told him we could go back one last time. You should have seen his face light up. It was like a kid on Christmas morning. He was so happy as we made it towards those creepy swings. But my defenses immediately returned when I saw that tall stranger nearby. Why was he always here, watching these children play? He truly made me uneasy. "Eli, stay close to where I can see you," I told my son. The man was approaching and offered to push him on the swing. "Don't touch my kid," I warned the stranger. "Dad, I'm gonna be okay," Eli said in frustration. For 3 years old, he always acted like he was 30. "Your son is safe with me," the stranger agreed. "Do you want me to call the cops?" I said angrily. But the man paid me no mind. He helped my son into the swing and began to push him. The smile on Eli's face was so big, stretching from ear to ear. I was a mix of emotions, trying to decide how best to handle the situation. "Look how happy he is here," the stranger said as he stepped away from Eli, and then gestured to the other children nearby, though I'm sure they hadn't been there a moment before. "They all are," he added. The way he said it made a chill run up and down my spine. Their laughter continued echoing in the still air. "What is this place?" I nervously asked. "I keep them safe until they are ready to move on," the stranger explained softly. He was looking at Eli and seeing him laugh. It sounded perfect. "Move on?" I repeated. His words made sense, but they sounded hollow and distant. "When they aren't ready, they stay here," he added. I felt my mouth go dry. My son got off the swing and chased after some of the other kids nearby. "Stay? He can't stay," I said desperately. My hands were shaking yet felt paralyzed. I called to Eli to leave, but he wouldn't acknowledge me. "It's okay to let go," the man insisted. He touched my hand and smiled. His hand was warm and calming. Eli ran up next to me and tugged at my pants. Dad! There's a treehouse and a merry-go-round. Can I go, Dad? Can I?" he pleaded. I don't think I can remember a time he was happier. I got down on my knees and ruffled his hair. Under the hairline, I saw the scar that ran across his head, from where the car had struck him. The truth came crashing down like a ton of bricks, and tears welled up in my eyes. It was time to let go. "Sure, buddy. Go have fun." He hugged me as tight as he could, and then ran towards the tree line. The tall man followed behind, and then nodded towards me in thanks. A moment later, they were gone. I stood there a few moments longer, transfixed by the sights I had just seen. watching as the swings and the slide fade away before me, until nothing was left besides the green grass at my feet. I still go by there from time to time now, to lay down some flowers. Sometimes I see another parent doing the same, and we share a bond of silence over our loss. And sometimes I hear the children laughing, and I know they are where they are meant to be.